Hello, I'm Dr. Tom, and I'd like to welcome you to another spectacular Friday update. What a glorious week we've had inside the world of Jen. I'd like to begin today with a quote from William Shakespeare that said, "Love all, trust a few, and do wrong to no one." Let's think about that for just a moment. Love all. I want to address that further in just a moment. Trust a few. What does that mean? To trust a few. You see, this talks about trusting the people that you consider to be your inner circle, the colleagues that you have, someone that is an advisor to you, someone who may be on your board of directors, someone who may be in your mastermind, someone who may be in your brain trust. People that you can in fact trust to give you honest, insightful opinions, to give you direction. People that won't tell you what they know you may want to hear. People who will tell you the truth, and people who will tell you how things really are, and people who may have some insight to help shorten your learning curve. You see, trusting, you've often heard that trust is earned, and I remember a spectacular quote that Brian Dodge gave us when we were together in a meeting, and he said, actually, distrust is earned. The lack of trust is earned. And I thought, what an interesting concept, what an interesting way to look at that you can trust people until they prove to you that they're not trustworthy. You see, it's just another example of simply looking at things a little differently than you normally might. Do no wrong. Do wrong to no one, actually. You see, that rings true for me because as a physician, we're trained in the Hippocratic Oath of do no harm. First, do no harm. The first thing is don't do harm. Then do good. You see, it is a great way to live your life. The whole do wrong to no one, wrong, which begs the concept of right and wrong. And this is really something that it may differ for different people. Some people may consider something to be wrong that another person would say, well, that's not really wrong at all. In my society, in my life, in this circumstance, it wasn't a wrong decision. And you see, right and wrong is something that you get to decide. If you think there are right things and wrong things, maybe you subscribe to the golden rule about treating others as you would like to be treated. It's really that simplistic. I would ask you to think about the right and wrong of being more an energetic thing. Does it feel good to you? Do you get nervous? Do you get anxious? Do you feel uneasy when you do certain things? And I would put those in the wrong category because I describe things in these manners as, is it right, meaning it contributes to your health and well-being and your happiness? Or is it wrong because it takes away from your well-being and your happiness? So maybe that'll give you a little bit of insight and a little bit of help on deciding about do wrong to no one. It has to feel good to you. It's part of that feel good now concept that we talk about inside the world of Jen. And this quote began with love all. Love all. You see, that doesn't exclude anyone. This is love all. And I would invite you to think of love in the terms of unconditional love. You may say, well, what do you mean by unconditional love? And unconditional love is loving someone or giving love or sharing love or expressing love with someone with zero expectation in return. Meaning, I'm not going to do something. If I do this, will you love me? And if I have done that for you, will you love me? You see, unconditional love is I'm putting out love regardless, expecting absolutely nothing in return. You know, it reminds me of a great quote from my father talking about patients that would come in to see him in personal care, and this is obviously on my mind because I'm doing a personal care this week from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, treating patients, and when I think about that, and when I'm in the moment of teaching, I'm often reminded, they just come to you from the ethos, if you will, They come from your memory, they come from your experience and the fact that we did these things together for many, many years. Love, and he would explain to people that if you would love those around you, love them more and expect less. Love them more and expect less. Well, if you expect less enough, it becomes nothing. Therefore, it becomes unconditional love because you expect nothing in return. And I'm always energized by putting on those classes and teaching those concepts. And you oftentimes don't realize how much you know and how much you carry with you from the teachings and trainings of the Success Mastery course until they just flow out of you. And once you get it, we talk about once Jin is in you, then you're really in Jin. And that's what happens when you apply these principles. I'll tell you, today I was speaking with Kevin on the phone, and it brought back, we shared some great laughs, and we talked some great life experiences and some lessons that are being learned, and he certainly had an adequate amount of time to learn these things, and it reminded me, it was interesting because as we were talking, it reminded me of the last time that he gave a live training, if you will, in Washington, D.C. And I could see right where it put me right back in the chair watching what he was doing, what he was talking about, and that got me to thinking about the times when I visited with him in Montgomery, and often Blaine would be with me or Dr. Ted would be with me, and it's always interesting to watch how a true teacher, a true trainer, when they shift, when they click into autopilot, when they move into that unconscious competence, that comfort zone that they have when they're in the zone. And we would often look at each other, kind of elbow each other and say, here we go. He'd kind of sit forward in his chair and begin to explain more, and he'd get that finger out and start pointing and teaching and training, and we'd just all chuckle. And finally, he'd realize what was happening, and we'd all share a laugh about that. You see, these are the things that are stored in your memory. This is how your brain works. These are memory engrams that are stored in your mind, that are stored because they're associated with feelings and they're associated with emotions. And when those things are locked together, then that's what comes out. And so when you start down a road, you experience that whole rush of information. And that's why it's so important to study in the Success Mastery course, to go back, and review in the Success Mastery course. Because the reality is that information is stored in your brain. And the more you listen to it, the more easily it is accessed. And the more automatic your responses become. And the easier it is for you to lower your shoulders, and for you to listen, and for you to observe, and for you to use discernment, and for you to make good decisions for you and your family and your legacy as you move forward. And in that vein, I have a couple of announcements I'd like to share with you today. Number one, the giving and the gifts that come from our virtual global family reunion continue. This week we have a new release for you again. I had told you originally that Ed and Erlene were on in the wilds of fishing and in the north, and they have now returned. And of course, last week we released Ed's incredible information, and this week we're releasing Erlene's. And she is such a truly unique individual, a one-of-a-kind teacher and trainer. And when she shifts into her zone, it's magical to watch. And we're so blessed and fortunate to have her as a trainer and a teacher inside the Global Information Network. And this week she shares with you, and again, you can find these on the website where all of the others are stored as well. And you can listen to her explain to you what happens and how important it is to maintain your self-esteem when you're challenged, when things happen in your life, and how do you move forward. Great training. I encourage you to go on the site and listen to those things. I will also tell you that the other trainings that are there that I've talked about the last couple of weeks, and what you can do, you don't have to watch them in any particular order, just make sure that you watch them. Just take some time. They're plus or minus 30 minutes on those. Some are a little longer, some are a little less. Take some time, watch one of those, get into your learning zone, get into your absorbing zone, and understand the community. Understand the connection that you have inside this club. I will also remind you that I'd like to give out a special thanks, a special thanks from your entire Gin family to those of you who have volunteered. Those of you who have volunteered to translate different items, to translate different trainings, whether that's in French or in German or in Spanish. Thank you so much. Your club thanks you. We all thank you, because it is through that volunteering that we become larger than the club itself, than the internal team itself. Now other members can contribute. People often ask, what can I do to help? How can I volunteer? That may be volunteering at an event to help, to seat people, to help with the door. There are lots of things that happen at a major event. And so again, a special shout out, a special thank you to all of those of you who have volunteered your time for the benefits of this club. And if you have not yet done so, if you'd like to do so, just please contact us. Send us an email at support@ginunited.com, and we will follow up with you and see how we can get a fit together to allow you to assist us in the club. Also, we'll tell you that level 5 testing is up, running, and live. And so if you are eligible for your level 5 test, if you would please contact, again, support@ginunited.com. They'll be able to walk you through and help teach you and coach you on how to do the process itself of taking that test. So huge advancement for us, which, see, the true beauty of this is that it will allow more people to move through the levels, to move through level 5 to get to level 6, which is only done at the events at this point. So it will allow more people to get to level 6, which will get them to level 7, so they can do level 7A and then level 7B on their way to level 8, which is free from KT. I would like to share with you also our new member and sponsoring video that Joel has put together for us. And this time it has a special twist in that when he announces where the new members are from with the globe in the background, you'll see that area of the world light up. And that is truly significant of what we see happening in the world of gin. As people begin to study this information, as they join this club, as they join you and join that huge energy ball that is ever growing, they light up in different parts of the world. And there's never been a more important time for new light in the world. At this time of global challenge, we need more people shining the light, carrying that light, if you will, in order to get us through this challenge that we have. So I ask of you this week is, what have you done? You see, we've been talking about this pandemic for 5 or 6 months now. Let's call it 6 months. What have you done to enhance your health? What have you done to build your immunity? What have you done to protect yourself, to build yourself up so that your resistance is high? Because here we are 6 months later and it's still going on. So the time is right, the time is now for you to take responsibility and you to take charge of your life. Build your immune system. I hope you have a spectacular week. I'm Dr. Tom.